Hey everybody, welcome to Baker Banter, the podcast that talks about sports. Tonight we are getting into some NHL discussions. We'll be getting into some MLB stuff, and it is, what is it? Draft Eve.
That's
NFL
right.
Draft Eve. So welcome Trent,
Yes.
welcome Trey.
What's up, guys?
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Uh,
we finally get a little appetizer of NFL season coming up tomorrow, so I'm excited for that. But we're in the midst of the NBA, the NHL playoffs. It's a pretty decent sports time right now.
yeah, it's starting to definitely heat up. I'm kind of waiting to see if there's any sport news and stuff in terms of the NFL that happens tonight before the draft, but I haven't seen anything pop up on the feed, but we shall see. A lot to discuss, a lot of moves in the NFL this week as well. But we're actually going to get into the NHL playoffs tonight here first, as we actually have a special guest coming on tonight. All right, so our first guest ever here on Bearded Baker Banter comes from a long list of relatives from the north of the border. His father, a former NHL and AHL star hockey player, he grew up as an athlete unmatched to many. A dual threat quarterback wide receiver in high school, a two sport athlete in college, starring as a second baseman with a rifle arm, and a forward in hockey with skating talent seemingly as though he had the puck on a string. And now, a youth hockey coach, a world class lawyer, you can't handle the truth. Please welcome Corey Lamoureux.
That was absolutely amazing. Thank you for having me, boys. I'm excited to be here.
Your ego has to feel pretty strong right now.
I know.
Goodness, after that, you're like, I got to come back on here.
I was gonna say that'll keep him coming back forever. Yeah.
And absolutely. We're going to be the first ever two-time special guest on
That-
Peter's.
that was some serious prep work.
I believe it.
And it's a good thing you have the job that you do because I could find some things.
True.
All good things, obviously. But yeah, so welcome, Corey. So we're going to get into a little bit of the NHL playoffs here, obviously with some games going on tonight. Only two tonight, unfortunately. But what we'll look at here is just, what are your thoughts right now? Best team in the NHL, maybe best player in the NHL. Who are you really liking right now in the NHL playoffs?
So usually, history has told us, guys, that you're not supposed to like the President Trophy winner, right? You're not supposed to like the team that was the best in the regular season.
Yep.
I think this year's the exception.
Okay.
Boston, as we say in the hockey world, is an absolute wagon right
Okay,
now.
all right.
Okay, they just tied it up. I think it's 3-3 in the third period right now. They're up in this series 3-1 without their captain. Okay, they played the last three games without their number one and number two centers.
Yep.
Right, so they are just an absolute pleasure to watch. Great goaltending, great special teams, and a little Palmyra shout out. Their athletic trainer is Dustin Stuck.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Good.
Why do you think they've been so successful this year?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
Always
sensible-
healthy.
Reason. Yes, absolutely.
So you're liking the Bruins. I mean,
I am.
looking at them,
I am.
they're obvious right now. I had the game on, as we speak. They're out shooting Florida 40-18, and
Yeah.
it's tied 3-3, which kind of seems a little bit unbalanced, but
Which is crazy.
it's nuts. I actually didn't expect Florida to actually win a single game in this series, but the fact that they're actually giving them a game here. Player wise, are you all over Pasta? Like you mentioned, they are missing their captain. I think he played one
They
game in
are.
the series.
But I'll tell you what, the best player so far in this playoffs is probably somebody people didn't really expect, even for his own team, is Leon Draisaitl out in Edmonton.
Yes.
Right? He's got 10 points through 5 games.
Yep.
He's put Edmonton, on his proverbial back.
Yep.
Right? So the Germans just got it going on.
Well,
right
and
now.
and it's looking at him too. Draisaitl's scored over 100 points in a regular season as it is, and everybody obviously takes McDavid to be the guy, but dude, you're 100% right. It's been Draisaitl this series.
It's been crazy, and he's leading the playoffs in goals with 6. He's ahead of Chris Kreider and Mikko Rantanen from Colorado, and the scary part if you're playing Edmonton is right now Connor McDavid has 2 goals.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So if he gets hot, look out.
So what do you think? I mean, Edmonton obviously, made it decently far last year. Believe lost to the Avalanche, but what's up with the Oilers?
It's just getting over that hump, right? And the problem that they've always had is secondary scoring. They've never had solid secondary scoring from their third and fourth lines, and their goaltending, has been shaky, to say it, politely. But if they can get solid goaltending, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And would you say they updated with not having Skinner in there primarily?
Yeah, I think they really have. And the thing you can't lose sight of too that they've lacked is they got Matthias Ekholm at the deadline from Nashville. He's probably a top 10 defenseman in the NHL. Has ton of playoff experience with Nashville. Evan Bouchard, the other defenseman, I think is top 5 in points right now in the playoffs amongst all skaters.
Yeah, he had a nice game last night.
So if you can get some solid play in front of your goalie, it doesn't matter who one of you guys could play goalie and still steal a playoff series.
I don't know. We got a lanky younger brother that probably couldn't stop a whole lot of things. I'm sorry.
Definitely couldn't.
And I would actually have to call my chiropractor afterwards. So there's that.
I think my width would just stop pucks naturally.
Absolutely.
Corey, with the second game coming on later tonight, I think it's 9:50 with the Kraken Avalanche. What are your thoughts with the defending champs and their chances here? I know the series is 2-2. They got a big suspension tonight, so I was wondering what your thoughts were.
Huge suspension.
Yeah, when you lose your number one defenseman in Cale Makar, it's going to be tough. Now, to counteract that, Jared McCann, the 30-goal scorer for Colorado, is not playing either.
Right.
Right now, Nathan McKinnon's starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah.
They're still the defending champs until somebody beats them. And here's the thing with Seattle. It's their second year in the league. It's their first time in the playoffs. They just got their first ever franchise playoff win. So in the playoffs, when it comes down to it, I will always take experience over youth and inexperience.
Sure.
Yeah. It's just crazy seeing them get there in their second season. But I feel like with new franchises, hockey teams tend to have more success earlier on than, say, like a new football franchise or something like that. But still impressive either way from the Kraken, I think.
Absolutely.
That's kind of the way they do the expansion draft stuff, too, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, keep in mind, when Washington won their cup 4 or 5 years ago, Vegas was an expansion team. That was their first year in the league, and they made the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep,
exactly. So that's not a pot shot at Washington. They won it fair and square. They beat the expansion team, yes. But am I wearing a Penguins jersey? Also, yes. But, Washington, they slozzled the Golden Knights for sure.
Well,
Corey, that actually leads me to my next question I have for you, and I know you like to tweet about it a lot, and they just made some moves today. But with the Penguins, and they're, I guess, missing the playoffs. What do you have to say about Ron Hextall in your nickname you have for him?
I mean, I'm just glad the Trojan horse is gone.
I
think all you guys have seen me call Ron Hextall the Trojan horse.
We were waiting for it.
We were
waiting for it.
He came in and he had one thing on his mind, and that was to end the playoff streak of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And you know what? Good on him. Yeah, he accomplished it.
It's so interesting because what you determined of him doing a bad job, we were like, what a great job he's doing out there. I don't want him back. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him back in the front office. That's a rumor going around too. But hey, he got the job done, made up for it. And,
that was surprising to see the Pens out of it this year. I mean,
and Caps. I think without those two superstars on those two teams, it's like
it's wild.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see some new blood, but that's kind of the tough thing about professional sports is there's such large fan bases for those types of teams that some people fear it will have them lose viewers, which I don't think. If you're a true hockey fan, you're going to watch hockey. You're going to watch the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah. You want to see the best players out there playing in the playoffs, but like you said, Trent, it's good to mix up every so often.
So, Corey, what's your take on Toronto this year? Are they going to? I mean, they're one win away.
One win away from their first playoff series win since 2004. Okay,
Wow.
they as an original 16, which is absolutely wild, guys. They haven't won the Stanley Cup since 1967.
Wow.
Which is just crazy, right? Right now, one of my futures bets that I'm going to be placing, they're plus 700 to win the cup right now on FanDuel. Okay, and I really like that bet. I got a couple other bets I'm going to save. Right?
Sure.
It's a little teaser there, but I really like the Toronto, the futures bet of Toronto. They look like a different team.
Yeah.
They're deeper, they're faster, they're getting better goaltending.
Yep.
And the other thing too, guys, and I'll share this too, in the playoffs, two things usually win you series and get you far is goaltending and special teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now, Toronto is 4th in power play percentage at conversion rate at 35%. Okay, that is crazy. To put that in perspective, Edmonton right now is at a 57% clip.
Okay,
which is pretty wild. During the regular season, your regular season leaders are probably in the 20 to 25%.
Sure.
Good power plays. Right. So again, if they can get some solid goaltending, they're going to be okay. They can score.
I think a lot of people. I mean, that game last night was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I tuned in third period, and I'm like, all right, 4-1. Well, looks like Lightning are back to business again. It was very surprising to me to see Vasilevsky, of all people, actually give up that many goals that late. You might be onto something with that because, I mean, this is 2 years in a row now they made the playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe they're starting to get, a little adjusted and realize what they need to do. But, yeah, that was impressive.
I think Tampa Bay is running out of steam.
Yeah.
They've won back-to-back cups 2 and 3 years ago and made the playoffs, made a deep run last year, and that's a lot. It's a lot of hockey when you only get 2 months off in the summer.
Yeah.
So that's it.
They didn't seem like the team usual, even through the regular season. I mean, I feel like they still have a lot of the same guys, and even following them, they're a team I like to place a lot of bets on. Player-wise, like prop bets and stuff, and even a guy like Stamkos, I mean, he was getting a shot, maybe 2 a game, whereas in the past he's 4, 5, 6 shots a game, and it's like, all right, what's going on here? But yeah, they didn't look like the same team this year.
No, and in the playoffs right now, I mean, Vasilevsky's given up. His goals against average is 4.33%.
Yep.
Which is over 4 goals a game. Right. You're not going to win a whole lot of hockey games in the playoffs giving up 4 goals a game.
No, I'm telling you, that's unmatched compared to what he was at. Because he was one of those guys, he kind of reminded me of the Henrik Lundqvist with the Rangers when they kept going deep into the playoffs each year, and obviously I felt like the Flyers always matched up against them in round 1. But that was actually when the Flyers were in the playoffs back in the day.
Yep.
But yeah, that's who he reminded me of a lot. So I mean, to see him giving up that many goals is a little unusual, but. There was one other thing here I didn't mention.
Yeah, we were gonna ask, as a, correct me if I'm wrong, three sport athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
3-sport athlete. So we always kind of like to get a take on, when it came to baseball, football, and hockey. Hockey players are recognized as some of the toughest athletes there are. I mean, you see guys get teeth knocked out, hell,
75
way
stitches.
back. Guys' hearts stop and they're asking to come back in the game at times. But do you can just agree? Do you consider hockey players to be, or even just from personal experience, was that the most physically demanding sport that you played?
Hockey definitely was. And I think it's a culture thing with hockey too, right? It breeds the toughness with folks. If you're soft, you're not going to do well, especially in the North American game, meaning Canada and U.S. You see these guys come over from Europe and they play what's called on the perimeter. The boards are their best friend. They never go to the dirty areas, right? So, but yeah, I mean, hockey players. What was it? 2 games ago, was the guy from Winnipeg took a goalie's skate, cut him. I think it's 75 stitches. I think he missed 10 minutes of game time. Came back in wearing a full cage. Right.
Yeah.
So
I always think it's funny whenever you see a team get eliminated from the playoffs. It's the whole playoffs. It's lower body injury, upper body injury. And then when they get eliminated, you see, they're having surgery to repair a broken femur. And it's like, holy crap. Like, they were playing with that the whole time. Like,
who was it there with the Sharks those couple years with the great beard, who was playing the entire playoffs with a torn ACL? It was
Rick Burns.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like what the that type of stuff that you hear about. It's unreal. But now let's talk in the gambling aspect of things. Out of those three sports, I mean, maybe you don't gamble in all three of those, but what would you say is the toughest one to quote unquote cap? Find a trend, something that is usually pretty nice to the bankroll.
I've always found baseball to be the toughest. Okay. And I always found that because you could run into a hot pitcher. How many times have we seen, I'll use an extreme example, a no-namer throw a no-hitter, right? Or a guy like Chris Sale 2 years ago was unhittable, just gave up 6 runs last night to Baltimore.
Damn right. Go O's. All right.
So I would say baseball is the toughest. I've probably had my most success. I bet all three, but I probably had my most success betting hockey.
Okay.
Two things that I typically bet in hockey are overs, and I tend to like the shot props for players. I was going to get into that a little bit too. In the playoffs, if you see a top line or a second line forward who also plays penalty minute or power play time, and you see their prop at 2.5 or even 3.5, you take the over every time. Because they're going to be playing 18, 19, 20 minutes a game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's like knowing which players tend to play on the power plays, they're obviously going to get more shots. But it's good. It's a good little thing to take note of. It's not something I even thought of.
Yeah.
Well, that's knowing the teams too. You know what I
right?
mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough. I mean, it's obviously who's playing and who's starting and who's the studs are. But taking into account power play stuff is definitely very important.
And what I try to do in the playoffs too, and you'll see it's momentum, right? It's almost if a team's hot, like the other night going into overtime, you mentioned the Toronto and Tampa Bay game, and Toronto scores 3 goals in 10 minutes, right? Tie it up, go into overtime. I checked the live odds; they were -117 to win in overtime. I'm like, that's
Maple Leafs
stealing.
were.
The Maple Leafs were.
Yeah.
Even though Tampa Bay was at home,
right.
You're on the ropes. Your goalie just gave up. I mean, you don't know what's going in. You have 16 minutes in between periods.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's A, not a lot of time, but B, if you're a goalie, also a lot of time to think about, holy crap, when's the next shot going to go in?
Yeah, what did I just do?
Yeah. But the overtime games, I tend to lean home team, if there's an overtime game for a live bet, but also I'll take momentum over home team any night.
Yeah. So you're an overs guy, huh?
I am an overs guy.
Ooh, man. I'll tell you, because I look at it just like anything like with basketball. Like, it's almost hard not to cheer for, like, offense. So, like, you bet unders and you're like, oh, geez, like, just stop. I mean, I've been doing the same damn thing here with baseball lately. I'm like, oh, yeah, under such and such. And I'm like, all right, let's just make sure we get a double play this next play. But, I definitely like the overs. I struggle sometimes with overs because I feel like they just jack up the numbers. I mean, when you start to get to 6.5, I mean, that always makes me nervous. I'm thinking, man, is it really going to be 3-3 or is it going to be, and have to be, I don't know. I mean, I try to do like 5.5, 6, especially for the overs. I think a couple games this season, it might have been Boston. I think they were even capped at like 7 at one point, which I thought was insane. I'm like, all right, are they really going to do that? And I think they actually covered it anyway.
It's tough. It's tough though, because like there's also a flip side to taking an under in all sports is like you sit there and realize, okay, when you're on the under, you are winning the entire time, the entire game until that one moment hits where you're like, son of a gun, like, are you kidding me? So it is weird because I mean, depends on the sport for me. Like NBA, when you see an outrageous over, which I hate betting the NBA. The over is going to hit. It's like there's no way they're going to look at the Suns game last night.
Yeah.
Hell, I think I had under 127.5 points on the Suns, and they freaking score 136.
Of course.
So it's like, are you kidding me? Like that really just happened. But I always think it's weird, because for the under, your bet's always winning until one moment. Whereas the over, your bet's always losing until you get it. So
right.
very interesting.
And with the new NHL format, it's a bracket, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the NCAA tournament. One matchup you might get next round is Boston and Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Toronto's averaging 4.75 goals a game. Boston's averaging 4 goals a game. Right? So I mean, something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Right?
I really hope that series happens.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
You think too, to kind of touch on the overs, I mean, almost similar to the fact that in extra innings in baseball, where now they put the guy on second base, you're always at risk of the empty net goal. It could be, your under could be hitting, maybe you have 5.5, maybe it's 3-2, and all of a sudden you get an empty net goal where now it's 4-2 and you just lost. Maybe you took the under, so that's something too. But
yeah, and John Cooper, coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, fellow attorney.
There you go.
When he's down 2 goals, he's pulling the goalie with like 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, yep.
Right?
I noticed that.
So, which is completely crazy.
Yeah.
I think the other night he was down 5-2, and they had a power play with like 6.5 to go, and he pulled the goalie. Yeah, pulled him. Just crazy. It was crazy stuff.
You got to get up somehow.
Yeah, got to do something.
Yeah, right. Risk reward, I guess.
Yeah.
So safe to say you have Boston from the Eastern, and then are you taking the Avalanche in the Western?
So I'm down to 2 teams in the West.
Okay.
One might shock you, one's not going to, and I'll jump back to the East. But I have two futures right now on the Western Conference winner. The first one is Edmonton at plus 265.
Okay.
And the other one is Dallas. I think Dallas is a sneaky good team.
Okay.
I got them at plus 400 to win the West.
Texas hockey.
Yeah.
Texas hockey, that's right.
A little bit. I think they're deep. Their goaltender, Jake Ottinger, is playing really, really well. And they have a pretty good chance of making a good run, I think. So,
all right.
And then back in the East, I love Boston. But again, if you're looking for somebody to, throw a little bit of lunch money on, Toronto's the team to do it too.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty solid. So you're saying Avalanche dead.
Done.
Dead. Okay.
Ooh.
All right. I mean, the series against Seattle is obviously, again, one of those series where I'm like, it's really 2-2 against the Kraken. Are you kidding me here?
Yep.
But
yeah, I think Colorado wins that series. I don't think they get past Dallas in the next round.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I really don't. And the 2 other sneaky teams I think in this playoffs are playing right now, and that's New Jersey and New York.
Yeah.
Both are getting incredible goaltending at the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got the kid Schmid from New Jersey. He's got a .91 goals against average, and then Igor Shesterkin's at 1.44 goals against average. Right, and they're going to be going up next round. One of those teams is going to be going up against either Carolina, who's depleted injury-wise,
right,
and who New York Islanders. If you want to go to sleep, just watch them because they're playing hockey so freaking boring.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinion on that? Like, I don't know. I always was like under the impression that Eastern hockey is kind of like, almost like dink and dump kind of thing, a little bit slower pace, and then you get like the Western, and it's like back and forth, like flying high, like all the time. I mean, it's kind of frustrating for me as a Flyers fan. I mean, I'm like, I kind of wish I was playing that high flying action and entertaining.
I feel like Eastern Conference hockey always, to me, comes off as more physical.
Yeah,
well, it's a little bit slower pace, but a little bit more physical. Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe it's because how many times you watch like the Pens and Flyers play when they beat the crap out of each other. Maybe it's that, but I don't know. I always got like physicality out of the East, and then I got like speed, and just I don't know. Like Tyler, you were saying about the West, you sometimes wish that your favorite team could play like some of those teams.
Right.
That's
Yes. Well, in the West, you got probably 2 of the fastest guys in the league, in McKinnon and McDavid.
Right.
Hands down. And then you got, in the East, you got Boston, who's just a rugged, big, tough team.
Right.
Right. And you have that a little bit in Dallas. I mean, that would be a heck of a series.
Oh, yeah.
Dallas and Boston in the Stanley Cup Finals. But.
So, One other thing here, just to kind of transition before we let you go here. Obviously, a baseball guy.
Yep.
Who's your teams in baseball here? Who's coming out, making the World Series, and who you got winning the series this year?
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to go total off-the-wall pick because they haven't been good in about 57 years. But my Buccos out in Pittsburgh, currently in first place right now. They got McCutchen back. As much as I would love to see them make a run, it's going to be tough to go against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, they may only lose 5 games at home all year at this rate. So, which is crazy. But the AL East is so tough.
Yeah.
I think I saw a stat the other day. They're, I think, like 52-12 or something against non-AL East AL East teams this year already, or some crazy stat like that. But all kidding aside, out of the American League, it's got to be Tampa Bay, and then out of the NL, I don't know. You got teams that were really, really good last year, but maybe not so much this year. But LA is always tough. I mean, they got one of the biggest payrolls in baseball.
It's tough. I mean, that's kind of what it is.
It is.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
You ain't wrong with the Pirates. I mean, they actually stole one from LA tonight, and actually, I feel like they should have stolen one last night too.
Yeah.
What you got to remember with the Pirates, though, is they trade half their team before the deadline every year. So
that's true.
This is true.
Like
any promising young starter is off that team at trade deadline. So
I feel like that's any team besides what, LA, San Diego, the Yankees, anybody that doesn't have enough money.
Yes.
I did see they just gave out their first $100 million contract.
Yep.
To Reynolds. Yeah.
Good.
Reynolds.
Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, Reynolds was part of that McCutchen trade that sent McCutchen out west, and then Pittsburgh got Reynolds in that trade and came full circle with Cutchen back.
I was thinking about that yesterday, watching that interview, because I was on the Buccos team total yesterday. They smashed. I think they doubled it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to think McCutchen's probably a little sour seeing that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was Pittsburgh baseball, which really wasn't much for a while. And he got him back in, what was it, wild card? At least when they did the one game and done with, remember they got Johnny Cueto to drop the ball and the whole place went nuts. That game. But and then they sit there and let him go, and then he's seeing that 6-figure contract go to that guy. You're probably like, all right, I see it, but he's still in the big leagues though, and he's back there. So
yeah.
Well, Corey, we appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
Thanks, boys. Really appreciate it. Had a great time.
Definitely have to have you back, and hey, we'll be sending you, or maybe I'll even just meet up with you somewhere. But we'll have a shirt, sticker, wristband for you for coming on tonight. So appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, boys. Thank you very much for having me.
Good talking to you, Corey.
Absolutely. Have a good one, man.
Great insight. We really appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
Guys.
definitely.
So we're going to transition into some MLB here. We're going to look at, what do we like right now? What are we kind of staying away from with some MLB bets as we continue to really kind of take a peek at the season here. So, Trent or Trey, I'll let you guys kind of take the ropes on this one. Lead us off.
Yeah.
Like that baseball pump?
Oh, I see. That there, kid. All right. I'll start off with I guess it's, we usually do like a tale. What are we... a team, a pitcher, something on those lines, or just a trend that we see or type of bet.
Yep.
And I am always, for those of you that keep up with our daily recipes, you see a lot of first 5 inning types of bets. And I'm still I like the first 5s in terms of run lines. And sometimes even in terms of money lines, you can get a little bit better value. But I would say right now I'm big on the first 5 totals. And now I will say carefully.
Are you talking team totals or like individual totals or?
Sorry, no, overall total runs.
Combined totals. I got you.
Yeah, so I would say I typically look at the lines, and if you sit there and see like a 8.5 or an 8, and you can get an under, because I'm more on the underside of these team totals,
right.
because I mean, it all comes down to pitching. Obviously, I'm looking at a pitching matchup where I'm going to take an under on, but and you can tell with the team total. I'm sorry, the overall game over and under is around 8.5.
Right.
And you get that first 5 innings at about a 4.5 for pretty good odds.
Yeah.
That's what I'm on right now. That's what I'm kind of tailing a lot.
Yeah.
I'd probably say I'm keeping an eye on that more than anything. I'm still on team totals.
Mhm.
Orioles team totals are still, in my opinion, they hit a little bit of a pitcher duel series there with the Tigers of all series to hit a pitcher duel with. But I mean, when you're facing the Red Sox right now, that's what I would fade Red Sox pitching.
Yeah.
You can love their bats all you want, but fade the Red Sox pitching. Chris Sale, who was a stud 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's not the same old Chris Sale. You know, just like I mean, I know he had a pretty good outing last night, but Kluber, who was pitching with I believe it was the Cleveland team for a couple of years, then he was down with the Rays, now he's with the Red Sox. He's not the Kluber of years past, so I would fade the Red Sox pitching.
Yeah, that's. I mean, what? So tonight, O's won. I think it was 8-1.
6-2.
6-2. Okay.
Yeah.
But then, even last night, I mean, I know the O's lost, but I mean, the Red Sox pitching gave up 6 runs again. You know, so I'd agree with that on the Red Sox because they can hit, which who knows? Maybe that's a team you like on overs with stuff too.
Ah, you son of a gun, Tyler! You took. I was just gonna.
That's a transition to you, Trey. What do you think?
I was just gonna say, I'm an over/unders guy.
Yeah.
That's my bet in baseball, and I was gonna say one of the teams that you can almost guarantee a solid over chance on is the Boston Red Sox because their bats are incredible. They have a bunch of guys that can just hit the crap out of the ball. But then you guys are right; they have such inconsistent pitchers. And not to mention the stadium they play in is just home run friendly.
Yeah.
It's made for the long ball, especially the lefties.
Can we also say they play in a very friendly Orioles stadium? They play in a very friendly Yankees stadium.
Yeah.
So they get a lot of divisional matchups. Yeah. You're right, Trey. Where they could.
That's a good
put
point.
Up some runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was one of the trends. And to be fair, I haven't even bet that over a lot this year.
Right.
It's just something I've paid attention to, and that I definitely will start to look at. I hope that they don't overcap it, like a lot of times they do.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That's just something that I've been keeping my eye on. The other thing is not so much these last couple games, but the Mariners unders.
Mm-hmm.
They're a solid team. They have a solid pitching staff from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And they don't have guys that are gonna necessarily crush the ball every night. They have good hitters, solid hitters, but it seems to me like a trend with the Mariners is that they have low scoring, close games.
Yeah.
So.
That's a fair assessment. My favorite bets. I struggle with full games, and it goes back to bullpens. I mean, you guys know that I'm huge on everything pitching all the time. I don't know. I've been still trying to find those sneaky first 5 plus a half teams, but I'll tell you what, as the season kind of goes on here, it's getting a lot harder to find those teams that are going to be able to cover that, plus a half a run.
Right.
But I also hate it. I hate betting the minus a half a run. You know what I mean? Because let's say, God forbid, something does happen, where either it's tied or they're losing or something, something happens. I don't like the minus a half. I mean, team-wise, I don't know. I mean, Chicago White Sox been a team I've still been betting on a lot.
Wow, that surprises me. They're bad.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they're easy to find bets on. I'm not betting on the White Sox. I'm betting on the White Sox games. If that makes sense.
I just want to say they're bad now.
Yeah.
Well,
I think their
Tim
team,
Anderson's been out for a while too.
I think that there's a lot of
guys.
Yeah, I know, but I think they have a lot of potential. I really do.
Can I tell you a team that's starting to worry me a little bit, and maybe it was just the last 2 nights, is remember we don't say their team name, but the Cleveland team.
Guardians, yes.
Who?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not sure what that team is, but yeah, the Cleveland team. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's their pitching or what it is, or their bats have been literally asleep lately. As of lately, I mean, I don't know. It's been tough, but like, that's a team that I still like. I've started to really stay away from Philly because I can't stand them. I think Miami's another team that I do like, kind of the Trent's trend of Miami's a team that I like to take the under first 5, which I believe was tonight was my pick against the Braves. And here, I'll tell you what's crazy is when I looked at that pick and I saw first 5, 4.5 Braves and Marlins, and Alcantara was pitching, and I can't think of the guy's name for the Braves. But if you look at statistically, I'm thinking, all right, maybe the Braves will get like 2 or 3 runs, because I didn't think the Marlins were going to do anything because Alcantara has not been pitching well. Well, Marlins were up 3-0 going into the 6th inning. I'm like, all right, well, wasn't how I anticipated it, but at the same time, it got the job done. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
But Tyler, can we also point out the fact, and this is just a point as to why we take first 5 overs unders or first 5 is that game ended up 6-4.
Yep.
So you're under 4.5 runs hit in those first 5 innings. You know, and that goes to show you when you get to the bullpens.
Yep.
You
don't know who's coming in.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, like the bullpen type pitchers are usually known for their antics, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more, personalities, little quirks that they have, and
some trumpets.
Yeah, I think you're taking that away from that aspect of the game because of this pitch clock, which I like the pitch clock. Don't get me wrong.
I see what you're saying.
But I'm saying, you're now taking these guys that are sitting out in the bullpen all the time, all game long, and you're in charge of 1 inning, 2 innings, maybe
a batter.
Yeah, so I think those guys can get a little bit more flustered easily than maybe a starting pitcher who's used to picking up the ball to get out there and get the whole game.
And they work in a rhythm. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that's just a point that I'm saying is I don't trust bullpens.
No, I don't either.
Until you get deeper in the year and you identify some absolute shutdown bullpens consistently, you got to be careful of the full game stuff because you can end up being heartbroken.
You know what I think books should do? You have first 5, right? Why not have a last 4? Right? Like a last 4, and run it the same way that you do your first 5, except now you're kind of focused more on the bullpens. I mean, maybe they won't do that because maybe the overs would every time.
That's a tough thing to ask of these odds makers, man. Ooh.
Oh, because they have such a hard job.
Yeah,
come on, man. They get to make books, dude. Hey, real quick side note here: Panthers beat the Bruins in overtime.
I just saw that. Yeah,
I just saw it too.
One thing, Trent, you talked about relievers and catching rhythms. And you've probably taken notice since you've been. I mean, we've all been watching it, but the Orioles have been our team. Yes, Yenier Cano is a stud.
Yeah,
he is a stud, man. That is. He's going to be a guy that the Orioles kind of rely on when they're winning big games
and then trade it to have him as your setup guy and then Batista as the closer.
Batista's my guy.
Right, like those 2 arms right there back to back. You're right. That is, and like we said about the Buccos with Corey there, I'm just hoping the Orioles start to say, hey, why don't we try something and let's be buyers at the trade deadline?
Right, exactly.
And if the owner can't do it, then sell the darn team to somebody that will.
Yep.
Maybe we need the bearded Baker owners. So,
man,
to rally up some funds.
I think we need one more starting pitcher that's a proven starting pitcher.
We'd have to call it the Bearded Baker Baseball Group because you got to keep the 3 baseball.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Let's go all in for Shohei Ohtani. Nah, we'd have to give it. I think Trey said he's going to Boston, though. Isn't that your prediction, Trey?
I can see that.
What's that?
Ohtani?
Oh, yeah.
Ohtani going to Boston.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. The Yankees were selling Ohtani jerseys in their team's store.
Yeah, I saw that. What the heck was the deal with that?
That's called recruitment. Come on,
true.
they put the jerseys in the locker rooms.
That's a good point.
Disappointing, but all right.
Yeah, we will with baseball too. We'll put a board out tomorrow. We'll go a favorite team, an underdog team to win. We'll go with an over that we think will hit and an under will hit. So we did pretty well last week with our board that we put out. I think you guys both went 3-1 and I went 2-1. because one of my games got postponed. So
Yeah.
sucks to be me. Game behind. Now I got to work even harder.
Just want to count that as a win, Trey. Or...
It was worth a shot, man. It was worth a shot.
Goodness. No,
It was worth a shot. All right, so what we'll do here is we're going to transition into NFL Draft Eve. Obviously, some moves this week. Big moves, especially for one of us. Moving on to the next, maybe franchise quarterback, maybe bust. We'll see. But moving into that,
you guys talking. Let's just start. Let's start with it.
Go ahead.
Right now, before we start getting in draft, let's talk a little free agency. I guess, or Trey, you won that pick or that.
Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree with you.
Very good job on you and your ownership committee.
Yeah,
great job.
Yeah.
Wait, can you explain why? I want to know why you think that.
Well, we weren't going to roll over, Tyler, as part of the ownership. We had patience. We knew what Aaron was worth, and I think like Trent said, I think we won overall in the trade. I didn't expect us to get that conditional draft pick, the last conditional draft pick.
And that, my take on that right there is, Tyler, you seem puzzled as to why you think they won it. Now, maybe this will come back to bite me, and it will be like, no, that was so stupid. But all he has to do is take 65% of the snaps.
Yep. Yeah.
Of the year, and that second round pick turns into an additional first round pick.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still not sold. And I want to bring this up. I mean, are the Jets as real as we say they are? I mean, they have to play the Dolphins 2 times a year, and the Bills 2 times a year. So and heck, the Patriots too. And that's never.
Okay.
You never know.
So here's my thing: is I truly do think that the Jets are a threat and a contender. Yeah. I think playing in that division is actually only going to help them. Teams that have success in the playoffs are the teams that play the tougher teams in the regular season and succeed. That's why the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl that one year. That's why the Chiefs usually make it, because they have a tough conference and schedule.
Well, I mean, you got the Denver Broncos 2 times a year last year, and then you got the Raiders 2 times a year.
Well, the Broncos weren't the worst last year, and the Chargers are a great threatening team, and the Raiders can win games. It's not. But no, what I'm saying is I think that the Jets are a contender. I think that they got their guy. Their question mark on their franchise is gone. They now have a solid roster, complete roster. On the flip side, though, the Packers got a lot of draft capital. Whether it be that they're going to draft guys with it and keep them on their rookie contracts and hopefully they pan out, or they can use it for leverage to get another big name guy that's already proven, or another, I don't know. But that I think that the Packers won that trade. I think swapping picks, it may seem insignificant, but 2 spots in the first round from 15 to 13, that matters. It really does. And then, like we talked about, the conditional draft pick, I mean, even if he doesn't play 65% of snaps, that's still a second-round draft pick we got. So,
yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I'm optimistic.
I mean, can I make an argument here real quick?
Yeah.
So here's my argument, and this is, and obviously, Trey, you and I argue and debate a lot because you hate 99ers and we always beat your Packers in the playoffs. But this is all.
My God, here we go.
No, but listen, this is just me speaking just from like an NFL fan looking at the draft and what it did. I mean, so yeah, you're saying from 15 to 13, from 13 to 15. I mean, I argue that I think there's a very glaring question mark that the Packers have to answer. And it's super glaring in the sense of you've had like 2 now in how many years? Is Jordan Love the guy? Like that's such a big question mark that I don't think you can make a statement that the Packers won this trade until you see what Jordan Love does, because I'd argue that the Jets won this because they still have the 15th pick. Okay, they're going to draft probably an offensive lineman. All right,
better.
And they have a defense that is literally unmatched. And you're also bringing in studs to help Aaron out already that he's already played with in some fashion. Plus, you have a rookie wide receiver from last year all right, who got offensive rookie of the year, who's now back. You got like a running back that's like, I don't know.
Coming off an ACL. But,
the Jets are going to be tough. I don't think you can say the Packers won this until you see what Jordan Love does.
Because here's why.
Jordan Love wasn't part of the trade.
Right, but I'm saying you gave away your star quarterback, your franchise quarterback.
No, he was gone no matter what, though. We knew that.
Can I preface something real quick before I point out why the Packers? It was an intelligent move future-wise, because I want to ask you real quick first, Trey, is how patient or how many years are you willing, or a year, are you willing to give Jordan Love until you say, okay, he's not the answer?
I would say after next season. Not this season, but the next.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers was seamless.
So can I say something here?
That's also not the case. That's not the usual case for anyone, Tyler.
Okay, so now here's what they did. Ready? So let's come out this year, and the Packers lay an egg. Jordan Love's not the guy. It's glaring. It's bad, right? It's really bad. I'm saying hypothetically.
I see what you're
saying. Yeah. So ready? Here, listen to me. Okay, you have a good first-round draft pick of your own already.
Yeah.
And now Aaron Rodgers has a hell of a year in New York. Maybe he doesn't have a hell of a year in New York. Maybe he doesn't.
But he plays 65% of the snaps.
Now you have 2 first-round draft picks. And let's say a team at the top is not looking to take a quarterback because they just took a young franchise quarterback. So now
I'll take Drake May.
Not even Drake May. It'd be Caleb Williams.
May, jeez.
Yeah. But now you have 2 first-round picks to trade for it and start over again. I mean, the thing is I think the thing that could catch up to Love is he's got some serious shoes to fill. Because you're right, Tyler, in saying Rodgers to Favre was a seamless transition.
Yeah.
They're really, I mean, some would say it was an upgrade because Favre started to, chuck it, like he always did. But it was starting to cost him, right?
Yeah.
It was starting to cost him. And it's interesting. I just find it so weird that we go from Brett Favre with the Packers, then he goes to the Jets. And now you got Aaron Rodgers from the Packers, goes to the Jets. Damn.
Well, not only that, but you drafted Rodgers in the end of the first round, and he sat behind Brett for 3 years? And then you draft Jordan Love at the end of the first round. He sits behind Aaron for 3 years. The quarterback that he sits behind goes to the Jets. Who knows? Maybe it will be another seamless transition.
Yeah, I mean, you hope for as a Packers fan and your ownership, but I don't know. I mean, it's. I'm still going to stick with what I said right now. I think the Lions are a better team. I think the Vikings are a better team, and I'm anxious to see what these Chicago Bears do because I think they made some pretty good moves in the offseason. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not. I think that there's one thing that I am not one teeny bit worried about, and that would be the Chicago Bears.
Okay, boy, you could really be kicking yourself down the road when it comes to fall and the Bears.
Well, I just think it's going to be tough for them to have any success when Justin Fields keeps running and then finds himself seriously injured.
Yeah, I mean,
so here we go.
Possibly not.
Ready? I want to transition into something quick and go through this as quick as we can.
Sure.
Ready? Jets schedule. You tell me if they win the game, they lose the game, and so on. All right, ready? So week 1, home versus the Ravens. Do they beat the Ravens?
That's a tough week 1.
Who's the quarterback for the Ravens?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because
I say yes.
Let's touch that in a little bit.
I say no.
Yeah, we will. I say yes.
I say no.
Okay. So Tyler said no.
No, I said yes.
No, I said no.
Oh, sorry. So Trey, no. Tyler, yes. So keep track of how many wins that you give them. Okay, guys?
Okay.
All right. Let's keep going. Sorry. Here we go. Browns at Cleveland.
Yes.
Keep in mind Deshaun Watson back.
Yes.
Yes. So they win.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Bengals. It's Bengals at home. Jets are at home.
I'll say yes first game.
I will say yes.
Oh, they only play them once.
Yeah. Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Dolphins in New York.
Yes.
Who's the quarterback for the Dolphins?
Tua.
I say yes.
Okay.
Also say
Packers.
yes.
No way. Is that real? Yeah, Packers.
Packers play the Jets. Are you kidding?
You're lying.
It's in Green Bay, October 16th, 1 p.m.
Ah, yikes.
Wow. Tremendous. So at Green Bay.
Yes.
Okay, you guys keeping track of your wins, right?
Yeah.
I said no.
Jets are 6-0 right now.
Jets, yes.
Wow.
You have the Jets at 6-0.
It's their defense.
Okay,
You got Robert Saleh in charge of your defense.
At Denver.
So you're picking the Jets 6-0 because of Robert Saleh.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
You
as
are something else.
And the
Let's
Jets
go, Riley's
defense.
up.
They can
at
hold a
Denver,
team to
win
9
or
points
lose.
and win now because they got A-Rod.
All right, at Denver, win or lose?
Yes.
Win.
Win. Was that a win?
Yes.
Okay. Home against New England.
I say no. I say no.
I'm going to say no for the first. This is the first time.
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
At home versus Buffalo.
Home versus Buffalo?
I say no.
Yes.
Okay. Coming off of a bye, they now play at New England.
Yes.
Yes.
And they're home.
Hold on a second. I'm going to say no again.
Okay.
Because you don't bet against Bill Belichick after a bye week. It's not his bye week, though.
That's not his bye.
Yeah.
Robert
Yes. Sorry,
Saleh's.
yes.
Okay. Keep track of your wins. All right. Home versus Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He owns the Bears.
Oh,
I said yes.
Right. All right. At Minnesota.
Wow, he's playing. So they play the NFC North this year.
Oh wait, hold on. Am I looking at the right? Hold on, guys. I apologize. I think I'm at the wrong schedule.
That was last year's, wasn't it?
What a waste of time. I apologize. Hold on.
How
22,
do-
23. It is.
All right.
I was on their website for it.
New schedule didn't come out yet, did it?
Yeah, it did.
Who
No,
they're
it
going to
didn't.
play, but it
Yeah,
doesn't have
Jets
weeks.
schedule. Okay.
All right, let's just move.
Scratch it.
I was
So here's
gonna
the
say,
thing,
there's
long
no way
story
the Jets
short.
play the Packers this
Ready?
year.
So when we go through this, though, understand the Jets' win total is at 9.5.
Yes.
I
Okay,
say
so
they
that's
hit over.
two times versus the Bills, 2 times versus the Dolphins, 2 times versus the Pats. They do play the AFC West, and they do play the NFC East as the 2 divisions. It looks like. So that's Eagles, Cowboys, Giants. That's Chiefs. That's Chargers. I mean, that's some tough football.
Yeah.
9.5. It'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see.
Like I said, I'm gonna say they win 10. And again, I go back to this. You can make fun of me for Robert Saleh. Oh my gosh, but at the same time, Robert Saleh has a pretty good defense. And now what you have is the defense goes out. They can shut teams down, and they don't have to worry about their offense not scoring points.
Okay.
Because Aaron
Fair enough.
Rodgers is going to have weapons, and he can just get the ball and distribute it as long as he has protection.
All right. Fair enough.
So
He's got a reason there.
I
Do you cheer for Rodgers this year?
No.
wow.
No? Okay. Wow. Very un-Brett Favre-like, because you did follow Brett.
Well, Brett is what made me love the Packers.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry about the mix-up. I had 23 schedule up, but it was 22-23. But still,
He doesn't
I
even
don't-
know
I
what
don't
year it is, Trey.
yeah. I still think I think 9.5. In that division, I don't think I'm taking that. I wouldn't touch that one.
I saw that the under 9.5 was the most popular bet game total or win total for any team.
Wow.
The
There you go.
Jets under 9.5.
So
Yeah, I
my real quick analysis, I won't spend a ton of time on this, but I find the Tennessee Titans Derrick Henry rumor rather intriguing.
Oh, yeah. What the heck?
I kind of talked myself through this the other night, kind of thinking about, like, number one, I mean, I think the stupidest move last year was giving A.J. Brown to the Eagles. I mean, I think we could all agree that the Eagles won the draft last year because of that.
Yes,
agreed. I think that if they are truly looking at moving Derrick Henry, let's just hypothetically speaking, because the rumor is to the Eagles, then we can all agree that the Titans are totally rebuilding. Okay? Because, I mean, everybody's gone.
Literally a new stadium.
Right. But, I mean, like, they're literally starting from scratch to a point maybe so is this their down year where they're like, hey, we'll get what we can get type of deal? Or, all right, here was my thought process. So, draft order-wise, the Titans pick at 11, the Eagles pick at 10. All right? The rumor right now has been that Bijan Robinson is going to the Eagles at 10 as the first running back off the board. If the Eagles are to get Derrick Henry, all right, which for them right now, where they're at, they're a pretty solid team. A Derrick Henry would kind of be like a cherry on top. So, are they really looking a ton in the draft? I don't know. I mean, I think you're getting a little bit old on your defensive line, but whatever. That is what it is. I truly think that there's somehow going to be some sort of trade where the Titans then get up to 10. I think the Titans, if they trade if they trade Derrick Henry, I think they take Bijan Robinson at 10. All right. And again, this is just me kind of speculating, is they take their future quarterback in round, let me just make sure, hang on. Possibly in round number 2. If not round number 1. Maybe
you think they're taking Hendon Hooker?
And they're going to take Hendon Hooker.
Tennessee guy.
Yep. That's my thought. So then you get Hendon Hooker plays behind Tannehill for a year. You got Bijan Robinson, your stud running back. You get Hendon Hooker once he's healthy, comes in. He's already been playing in Tennessee. I don't know. It sounds... You might have something. I don't know. That's
I
just,
like that, Tyler.
That's just my analysis and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that is very likely to pan out. I do believe that. And I think the fact that the rumor of Derrick Henry to the Eagles just randomly got out from one source makes me think that that's going to be a draft night trade.
Oh, totally.
And if that happens again, I want the Titans and Eagles investigated for collusion because
seriously, yeah, just giving them everybody.
I also think with Derrick Henry having the same agent as AJ Brown,
that's the other reason.
I also don't put it past, because remember the rumors leading up to this draft was that the Cowboys were very interested in trying to make a move for Henry.
Yeah.
And by leaking that could just be a little bit of, hey, we could maybe get more for Derrick Henry from Dallas, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which would be a little tricky. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
I honestly, though, if Derrick Henry goes to the Eagles, I do think that while the Eagles are getting Derrick Henry, who's probably has maybe 2 years left, maybe 3. It's a running back. That's a very physical running back. That's he has a timeline, and I think that maybe the Titans are saying, you know what, we really couldn't do it, because let's be honest. Do you really want to rebuild with Derrick Henry, who has 2 years left, 3 years left? Are you really going to get to the Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years with him? Probably not. So get what you can. Get young now. Get a young running back that's going to cost you less money. Get your future quarterback. And then start to put together a freaking offensive line. Like, good gosh. Like,
a lot of teams like that kid out of Alabama, that running back out of Alabama. Was it Gibbs?
Yeah. Well, remember, I think you posted the thing the other day. It's over 1.5 running backs in the first round. I said over.
Yeah, it might be. And it's interesting because that's a position that, a lot of times the quote-unquote experts say to avoid early on in the draft. So I think it's an interesting point made there.
Yeah. I think you'll see a lot of linemen. You'll see quarterbacks go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just torn. I'm torn as to this whole, like, one thing I hope my team doesn't do, the Raiders, is draft Levis.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I mean, if Trey, if you are that sold on Levis, then you have to admit right now that James Franklin doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Because if you have that guy there and you kept that quarterback in place of Levis and let Levis walk, you're a fool.
Yeah.
I just can't stand. I don't want.
Trent, I won't disagree with you about calling James Franklin a fool. I think he's a huge fool.
Hey, can I just real quick make?
Sorry, James, if you're listening tonight. Sorry.
Hey, big announcement I just saw. This made it come out a while ago, but Robbie Ray's done for the season for the Mariners.
Yes.
Yeah.
That came out this afternoon.
Okay. All right. It just popped up, and I was like, whoa.
Big hit to the Mariners. That hurts.
And Kawhi Leonard has a torn meniscus.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to shout out, just so you guys know, I traded in my fantasy baseball league. It's a keeper league. Traded Robbie Ray to guess who? Dom Theola at the beginning of the season.
There you go.
So sorry for that one, Dom, but got to say it feels good to get him off my hands.
Yeah.
So
real quick before we get more into the draft, what are you making of the Odell Beckham Bookham tweet and the Lamar Jackson SpongeBob meme, like anticipation tweet? Like, what is?
Say mean or meme?
What's that?
Say with an N.
Yeah. What do you think
Meme
it means?
with an M. Oh, what does it mean? Okay, I thought you said meme.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, it's a meme with an M, dude. Like not an
He
M.
tweeted a meme, and what do we think it means? Sorry, I need to pronunciate. I think I could solve this whole pan thing.
Yeah.
Hello,
two
Ms.
N's.
Lady. The D on the
But
end.
no, I mean, is it DeAndre Hopkins, guys? Like, is that what happened?
So, rumor today on McAfee's show was Pac-Man was reporting that the Chiefs are in the mix.
Damn.
And oh shoot, man, there was another team that's not been talked about. But I don't know.
Raiders, or
No, it was another contender.
Probably the Bills.
It's got to be. Well, Bills were talked about.
I think it was the Bills. It was Bills or Chiefs.
Bills were talked about, though.
But I mean,
I think the Ravens get it done. I think they get it done, and they pay Lamar a tremendous amount of money.
I don't know.
Because coming back, if you get Hopkins and Odell, you look like a fool if you walk away from that situation.
So the Ravens have Odell?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ravens have Odell.
Dude, what, you been living under a rock?
Yeah. I mean, I'm over here thinking it's 2022, so, yeah. Jeez. Welcome to the club.
That one. I've been stressing about Aaron all off season, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the meme thing. I don't know. I kind of felt like the meme thing was more contract related than it was Hopkins related.
Okay. So maybe Odell's Bookham tweet was in response to that?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, I could see that.
Makes sense. Just want to check that.
I'll just say though, like if Hopkins goes to the Chiefs, that's so dumb. Like so dumb.
Yeah, you're telling me we got to play him twice a year.
Oh my gosh, like where does that come from? Like how are they able to do all this? Like how are they able to just bring in these guys? Like
because they're asking for like a second round pick for him.
What wasn't it? Who? No, that was a Steelers. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
do we want to go into like our bold prediction, our shoe-in prediction, and what we want our team to do in the first round? We want to go into that to finish this draft talk up.
Yeah, we can.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anybody that would like to start? Tyler, do you guys have a first round draft pick?
No, we don't pick until the third round.
Okay, so I guess you're going to have to give us what you think your team is going to take, or maybe they're going to do something. The Niners and Kyle Shanahan and Lynch are not known to sit back and just watch the opening night go by. But
no.
Do you want me to start off since my team, obviously being the worst of us three, picks first?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I'm going to go my biggest shoe-in. My biggest shoe-in is there are three quarterbacks taken in the top 5 pick, at least. Top 5 picks.
3.
Absolutely. That's going to be my shoe-in to start.
3 top 5. So you're saying Panthers, Texans, Cardinals, Colts, and Seahawks. So basically, you're saying the Panthers, the Texans.
No, I don't think it's the Texans.
You think the Texans trade back?
I don't. I think it's the Seahawks that take the quarterback top 5. Are they the 5th pick?
Mm-hmm. So Panthers, Colts, and Seahawks.
Yeah, I think Young goes as the first quarterback taken over. I think the Colts take Levis, and then I think Seattle takes the Florida guy.
Okay. All right.
That's my shoe-in.
Yeah.
3 quarterbacks, top 5, at least 3 top 5 picks.
I'll say my shoe-in is over, or 2 or more running backs in the first round.
2 or more.
Yeah, 2 or more, which I kind of already stated, but I do think 2 or more. I mean, I think they're late first round. I think Robinson will go relatively early, and I think one will go late, maybe even at the end of the first round. Heck, maybe even the Saints, because who knows what will happen with Kamara in the future here.
I have
That's a good point.
My bold. Well, are we doing shoe-in or bold prediction or both?
We did shoe-in first,
yeah.
But you could do the snake and give us your shoe-in and surprise or whatnot.
Sure. I think that my shoe-in is that 4 quarterbacks go in the first round. I think that's a guarantee.
4?
Yep.
Okay. Well, isn't that kind
possibly
of
up
obvious?
to 5. Well, I thought it's my shoe-in. That's what a shoe-in is.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, I can get a little riskier and say 5 quarterbacks.
I think that would be more of a shoe-in risk, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then my shoe-in is 4 quarterbacks. But my bold prediction is that one of those quarterbacks goes number 2 overall to the Minnesota Vikings, and that is Will Levis. I think the Vikings trade with the Texans. Somehow, what's his name? The running back Dalvin Cook is involved, and I think that the Vikings.
Why would the Texans want Dalvin Cook? They got like the rookie of the year at running back down there in Houston.
I know. If they're gonna release him, then you might as well use him in some type of draft capital. So, I think that's my bold prediction is that the Vikings get their next franchise quarterback and Will Levis at number 2.
Okay.
That is a very bold prediction.
Yeah,
Tyler?
it is. My bold prediction. Whoa, man. Actually, I mean, and I'll kind of, I don't know. This kind of toys with I think my team will do. And it actually involves the Vikings as well. I think that this makes me want to cry saying this, but I don't think Brock Purdy plays this year. I think he sits out and recovers the entire season. And I actually think the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins to San Fran.
For what?
I don't know yet. I'm not sure. Late, maybe a third rounder.
It would make sense. It would make sense. You could get your third team in there in that trade that you're talking about with the Vikings.
Right, right. I kind of think of that too because Cousins and Shanahan have that connection from Washington. So that's, I guess, bold. I know I've also said on the show before too is somehow Dalvin Cook ends up a Niner, but I don't know. Imagine that, McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook. Who stops that?
Sure.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Cousins is a
Niner,
and I think Cousins
NFC Championship of the Super Bowl does.
Cousins might be a starter. Dude, you have no room to talk. Your stud quarterback won 1 Super Bowl.
Hey, it's a Super Bowl.
You have 2 Super Bowls with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Well, that's all right.
Okay. My bold prediction is that Robinson out of Texas gets taken before the Eagles at pick number 10.
Oh.
To who?
I either actually will state that I believe if it goes without like a major trade, I think the Falcons take him.
Wow. Okay.
And I think the team that would move up to potentially take him will be the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned Alabama's running back, though, didn't you?
Yes.
Because couldn't Dallas Cowboys have a pretty tight thing with Alabama running backs?
Was it Alabama or Arkansas running backs? But either way, I'm still sold because I think Jerry Jones knocks out a couple nice moves with that. Considering, one, you could take them away from an in-division rival who won their division and went to the Super Bowl last year. You're replacing Ezekiel Elliott, and you have another running back, Tony Pollard, who's coming off of a pretty gross injury to his leg, and you're taking a Texas guy. So you're winning over the state even more there, which they don't have to. But but just my opinion is I think that we could see something like that happen.
Yeah.
And then I will close this up with what I think or hope, I guess I could say, that I see my team do. I think there's a chance that the Raiders do trade out of their pick at number 7 overall.
I can see that.
And I'm okay with that, honestly. But whether or not we can get this guy if we do trade back or if we need to stay at number 7, I will only be completely satisfied with one guy and one guy only. And that is Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern.
Okay.
Offensive tackle. I think this is a year that I think we pack it in, and I think we invest in the future and keep Caleb Williams safe for years to come by having Peter Skoronski.
Okay. In terms of my team, I don't have a guy. I mean, picking third round, I mean, it's kind of hard to say, what the heck they're going to do. They might trade up in some fashion, maybe sometime in the second. I don't know. But like you mentioned earlier, Trent, I mean, John Lynch and Shanahan, I don't know how they do what they do. They sometimes pull out some weird magic to get ridiculous guys and ridiculous rounds, and it's like, wow, thank you. But I think the team needs offensive linemen, to protect the quarterback. I know we have some guys and stuff, but we did lose McGlinchey, and I think we need offensive linemen. But I want a lockdown corner, dude. Like, I want a corner that is just physical, can't be thrown on. Like, just that's something I feel like they've lacked there for a long time, even with when they had Richard Sherman, because it was Richard Sherman at the end of his career. You know what I mean? It's like, and then I don't know. So I want a lockdown corner or an offensive lineman, because I feel defensive line wise, I feel like we're pretty solid, especially with picking up what's his face from the Eagles. So I feel like we're all right. Now I'm seeing that they're going to move Armstead to an end, which might be pretty sexy. So we'll see. That's the 49ers, by the way, in case I didn't say what my team is.
Yeah, I think when it comes to my Packers,
you're getting a quarterback because that's what they always do.
No, I think it's one of two players. The only reason I'm leaning towards one over the other is I think out of respect for Rodgers, it would be a huge storyline that if they took Jackson Smith Indigiba, I don't know how to say his last name, but the wideout from Ohio State.
Okay.
I think that's who most people think the Packers are going to take, and I would be okay with that because I think that's a great pick.
Sure.
But I don't think the Packers do that because they haven't taken a wide receiver in the first round since 2005 or 15. I don't know
right.
how long ago it's been, but I think they take Dalton Kincaid. I changed. Okay. I know earlier I stated I hope we got Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, the tight end, but I think Dalton Kincaid is more dynamic. I think he plays more of a pass catching tight end than necessarily a blocking one.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be good for a young Jordan Love to have that safety outlet, tight end with good hands that's athletic. So I think they go with him.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they do, man, because it's interesting for them this year.
I feel like, my Raiders are pretty unpredictable in the draft, but I also feel like the Packers are pretty unpredictable. I mean,
yeah, I love Georgia guys.
there's always moves that you're like, go ahead and take the guy. In the past, it was because you knew that, Rodgers, you wanted to make Rodgers happy.
Yeah.
It was pretty dicey towards the end of it.
Well, they never made him happy.
And they didn't. And I think that's why the relationship ended the way it did. I mean, even now, with the way that the GM and him are kind of taking little shots back and forth in the media, it's obvious it did not end well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a question, because just think about this: Do the Steelers take Joey Porter Jr. in the first round at 17?
I think so.
Because that's honestly, man, I would love that. When I talked about corners, I'd like to have him on San Fran.
Yeah,
but I mean, all signs are pointing to him going in the first round, and I don't know that San Fran. I don't know. I mean,
I've seen him picked as high in a couple mocks, as high as 7th overall. I've seen them having the Raiders take him.
Yeah.
I don't think he. I was just saying, I don't think he falls to you guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying is,
unless the video of him smoking a gas mask emerges.
I mean, the Niners have 11 picks in the draft. They have 3. I think they have 3 or 4 third-round picks. So,
you guys have a lot of what are they called? Like supplemental picks for coach hirings and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Depends, Ty. I mean, a team that likes to collect draft capital rather than first-round picks is the Patriots. So right around the teens there, maybe that is an area where if that guy's available, you could see something happen.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, because when you think about it, do we have pieces we need? Yes. But at the same time, like, do you want to trade away some of these picks this year and go get a guy, you know what I mean, that you definitely need? Because, I mean, let's think about it. I mean, they're pretty solid in the NFC in terms of, teams that have a lot of weapons, teams that have a phenomenal defense. I mean, and I'm also seeing that the transition to the new defensive coordinator, Fred Warner, and I think it was Bosa, even said it's been seamless. They're like, this is awesome. So, I don't know. We'll see, but it'll be interesting to see.
Unpredictable year of draft. I mean, to see how even just a Reddit rumor can take one guy's odds from plus 4,000 to plus 400.
I know.
It's pretty crazy out there. I think there's a lot of people that are saying, I have no idea what's going on, but I do wish, I said it last week and I'll say it again, I just wish we could be in on that action. It would make the draft it's enjoyable. It is enjoyable as a football fan overall. As a Raiders fan overall, I hate it. I hate draft. But, yeah. But it all started with Michael Crabtree when we passed up on him.
I'll never forget that, dude. And I was so ecstatic.
Yeah, that was awful. But,
all right, well, boys, anything else here before we close out?
No. Just I would say in terms of baseball gambling this weekend, keep an eye on the East Coast games. I think it was pretty rainy on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So just heads up and the caution, but heck no, keep an eye out for our board.
Yep, board will be out tomorrow. But yeah, and hey, thanks again to Corey Lamoureux for coming on talking hockey, because that was awesome.
Yeah.
Great insight from him. So shout out to Corey. Give him a follow on Twitter at SteveYo. But yeah, thanks again, guys. We'll see you soon, and have a good weekend.
Yeah, good talking to you. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys.